I created G-plans out of nutrition frustration. One day during nutrition studies at Duke University, we came across a revelation. We discovered that everyone has a completely unique metabolic structure and type. Eating a generic diet program will not get you the results you want, and you will continue on a path of yo-yo dieting forever. Ultimately, sustainable food programs are built within your own specific metabolic template.
I eat what Dr. G tells me to eat for my metabolic type. I don't call this program a diet because I eat more than on other programs.
Hello and welcome to another nutrition masterclass. I'm so glad you've joined me today. We have a great topic we're going to dive into today on our plant-based meat alternatives really going to be better when it comes to weight loss. So I already see in the chat box here, quite a few of you have considered a plant-based diet. Today, specifically, we're going to be talking about those plant-based meat kind of substitutes and whether those are a good choice. So please feel free, as always, throughout this presentation today, if you have any questions, comments, anything, feel free to go ahead and add those to the chat box, and we'll also open up a discussion, answer some questions at the end today. We do have another great promo for you today as well, so check your emails after the end of this presentation. The promo for today is going to be a $10 15-minute nutritionist call. So a great time to really go into detail, talk about your goals. We can help you set up a really good focus moving forward, and even specialize your meal plan if you're interested in that as well. So take advantage of that $10 15-minute offer. We'd love to help you out. So we're going to dive into the presentation today. And again, please feel free to add any questions today in the chat box. All right. Okay, so are plant-based meat alternatives better for weight loss? Please feel free as well. If you have a question maybe you don't want to add in the chat box today, you can also feel free to email me. So that is my email there, my name at gplans.com. So feel free to reach out. All right, so over the past few years, you have probably noticed a major increase in the amount of plant-based meat alternatives at the grocery store and even at fast food restaurants. The marketing for these products makes it seem like they're a better choice for health and weight loss than opting for an animal protein source. Today, we're going to explore whether plant-based meat alternatives are really a healthier choice, and also consider other options that might be a better choice when it comes to your health and your weight loss goals. So number one, plant-based meat alternatives are processed foods. While glancing at the nutrition facts on a label for a meat alternative might look promising when you notice some vitamin content or even fiber, reading the ingredient list will show you that most of these alternatives are much more processed than animal protein. Many of these products are packaged with inexpensive ingredients that can be low in nutritional value. All right, just a moment here. I'm going to make sure. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. I think I didn't have my slides on the screen there. All right. Okay, sorry about that interruption there. Slides should be up on the screen. One reason our plant-based meat alternatives might not be the best choice at the end of the day is simply because of how processed they are as compared to animal protein or other plant-based meat protein sources that we'll cover at the end of our presentation today. So this is just an example here. What you're seeing on the left is a plant-based meat alternative burger. So you see a lot of ingredients there. And of course on the right, generally a animal protein source and other plant-based protein sources also are going to be much more minimally processed with a lot less ingredients. Next is the bioavailability of nutrients. You may notice that many of these plant-based meat sources do contain the same vitamins and minerals found in animal meat. However, it is important to consider the bioavailability of these nutrients. For example, while we may absorb 25 to 30% of animal-based iron we consume, we only absorb about 1 to 10% of plant-based iron. Similarly, zinc from plant-based sources is also less bioavailable than animal sources. Plant-based meat alternatives provide a source of essential nutrients for those who prefer not to eat meat. However, when compared to animal meat, a lower percentage of nutrients is actually absorbed and utilized in the body. Next, a lot of the times the plant-based meat alternatives can be more expensive than other options. Despite the fact that many plant-based meat alternatives are made with generally some fairly low quality ingredients and are more processed, they're often more expensive than animal protein sources. With the price of groceries increasing steadily over the past few years, opting for plant-based meat alternatives might also be a little tough on your budget. And next is a different macronutrient content. Some plant-based meat sources may contain a higher amount of carbohydrates or fat than animal-based sources. When comparing a Beyond Burger, for example, to a lean 90-10 ground beef, you will notice that the Beyond Burger contains more calories, carbohydrates, fat, and sodium than the beef. When it comes to weight loss as your goal, protein is important to emphasize. And when you include primarily plant-based protein sources in your diet, with those other changes, it could be more challenging to meet your macro goals when you consider the macronutrient breakdown in plant-based meat. And we're going to look at that here on the screen. It is showing a Beyond Burger, just an example here. And then again, this is very lean ground beef. But you will notice the calories are higher, the fat's higher, and there are some carbohydrates in the Beyond Burger, while there's none in the ground beef there. So just a few changes. But at the end of the day, what is the best choice when it comes to weight loss? If your goal is weight loss and you're not currently following a vegetarian or a vegan diet, the best choice for your health is to stick with animal-based protein sources or even less processed vegetarian protein options. Plant-based meat alternatives can be a good option to include on occasion for those already following a vegetarian or vegan diet, but overall the best choice is to prioritize more minimally processed foods as a whole. With there being so many marketing claims and misleading information on food labels today, it's extremely important to always examine the nutrition label and ingredients on an item to select the best choice rather than relying on claims on the front of a product alone. So lastly here, we have just a few general examples of plant-based protein options that would be a better choice in general. These are going to be, of course, much less processed, much less ingredients, simple options. So lentils are great. Red or green lentils are rich in protein, fiber, and key nutrients, including iron and potassium. Cooked lentils contain about 8 grams of protein per half cup. Tofu and edamame, both soy products, tofu contains about 10 grams of protein per half cup, and edamame a little bit behind at about 8.5 grams. Both are good choices that are rich in calcium and iron, and tofu works very well as a meat substitute in a variety of dishes. Next up, hemp seeds. They are a complete protein. Hemp seeds offer 5 grams of protein per tablespoon. Do have some fat content there too, but then beans, another great choice. Most beans have approximately 6 to 9 grams of protein per half cup serving and are also packed with fiber, and many varieties also rich in potassium. So these are some good choices, again, that are much more minimally processed, and at the end of the day too, may also be kind of less expensive, better choices as well. All right, and last thing here is my tip of the week. So might have heard this one before. It's a huge one. It's super important. So it is so important for health and weight loss progress to eat consistently throughout the day. To get started with this, I hear very often, if you're not used to eating very consistently, it may be really tough to get in that routine because you might have kind of lost track with your hunger cues as well. So you might find that you don't have hunger cues at regular intervals. So getting started with this, set an alarm on your phone, a watch that just in general goes off about every 3 to 4 hours. This is going to remind you to eat consistently at those intervals, and usually about a week or two so doing that, you'll actually find you do generally have hunger cues at those same times. It becomes a little bit easier to stay on track with your routine. So set those alarms. It's a great way to get on track with that. All right. So this does bring me to the end of our presentation today. So feel free at this time, if you have any other questions, you can add those in the chat box. I'd love to take some questions now. All right. All right. Yeah, Sharon says, I eat them for my health. In general, plant-based diet, absolutely. Some great options we just discussed that are really high and some great nutrients options to take advantage of. Let me know if you have any last questions here, specifically over those plant-based meat alternatives or maybe any other better options you're looking for. Do want to remind you again today, definitely check your email. So if you'd like a little more guidance and one-on-one help, we'd love to talk with you. You can work with a nutritionist for a 15-minute call. It'll just be $10 in your email today. So look for that. And again, please feel free. You'll find my email in the chat box here. So after this call, always feel free to reach out if there's anything that I could help you with, any other questions you may have. I hope I will see you again next week. Next week, we're going to be discussing, do you really need to reduce carbs to lose weight? So is it necessary? We're going to talk about that next Wednesday. So I hope you'll join me on the Nutrition Masterclass next week. Hope you have a great rest of your day.